Anticipated Gout Gout fight here, and on his inside, Andrew Mayenda is going to be the challenger. So Mayenda, the South Australian, he's fast. He's putting the challenge down to Gout Gout, and Josiah John out wide from WA. Josiah John, Gout Gout though now shows his class. Gout Gout from Queensland, 20.87. That is a national record.
This high schooler didn't just break a record, he obliterated it. Gout Gout, a 17-year-old Australian sprinter, just ran a 200-meter time so fast that the world took notice, and comparisons to Usain Bolt's early years are now unavoidable. But who is Gout Gout? And how did a teenager from Brisbane suddenly shock the entire track world? Born on December 29, 2007, Gout Gout grew up in a South Sudanese Australian family in Brisbane. His journey to sprinting stardom began in the most unassuming of places, school athletics carnivals. It was there that his natural talent stood out. By the time he was 13, he was already dominating local 100-meter and 200-meter events, drawing attention from national coaches and sports media. Under the guidance of his coach Diane Shepherd at Ipswich Grammar, Gout's raw speed began translating into timed excellence. At just 14 years old, he broke Australia's under-16 100 meters and 200 meters records with times of 10.57 and 20.87 seconds, respectively. For context, those times would already place him among the best sprinters in many national senior championships. He continued his ascent through 2023, capturing under 18 titles and further lowering his 100 meters to 10.29 seconds in March 2024. In August 2024, at only 16, he traveled to Lima for the World U20 Championships and ran a personal best of 20.60 in the 200-meter final, earning a silver medal. That time placed him among the top U18 runners globally and hinted at his massive potential. But his true breakout moment came in December 2024. In a stunning performance at the Queensland All-Schools Championships, Gout Gout clocked an unbelievable 20.04 seconds in the 200 meters. This shattered the Australian under-18 record, a mark that had stood for 56 years, previously held by Olympic silver medalist Peter Norman. Even more impressively, it beat Usain Bolt's own time of 20.13 at the same age. Bolt was 16 when he set that 2013, and we all know what happened after. That same month, Gout ran a 10.17 in the 100 meters, the fastest legal time ever recorded by an Australian under-18 athlete. He also recorded a wind-assisted 10.04 seconds in an earlier heat, a time that, while not legal for record purposes, ranked among the fastest ever by an under-18 globally. These were no flukes. Gout was now officially on the radar of the global sprinting elite. Fast forward to March 2025. Competing at the Queensland State Championships, Gout ran a wind-aided 19.98 in the 200 meters plus 3.6 meters per second. Then in April, at the Australian Senior National Championships in Perth, he delivered a stunning 19.84 seconds plus 2.2 meters per second wind to win the senior 200-meter title. While these times were not eligible for official record purposes due to wind assistance, they marked him as one of the fastest under-20 sprinters in the world, second only to Ariane Knighton in terms of all-conditions 200-meter times for a youth athlete. High international media began to stir. Track experts and former Olympians started comparing his raw speed and poise to Usain Bolt's early career. Gout's sudden rise attracted attention beyond the track. Adidas signed him to a multi-year sponsorship deal in early 2025, seeing in him a potential global ambassador. Plans were made for him to train in Florida, alongside stars like Noah Lyles and Ariane Knighton, under the guidance of elite coaches who specialize in nurturing young talent. His team, led by Diane Shepherd and with support from Athletics Australia, is keen on maintaining his academic and mental balance to prevent burnout. So what makes Gout Gout different from other junior phenoms? It's not just his speed. Standing at 1.83 meters, he combines explosive power with remarkable fluidity and endurance. He doesn't just dominate the 100 or 200 meters, he's also posted impressive times in the 400 meters, including a 46.20 run in early 2025. That versatility hints at a deep athletic foundation and room to grow into a multi-event sprinter. His progression is among the most rapid ever documented, for an Australian sprinter, from 22.68 at age 13 to 20.04 by 16. His improvement curve is almost unprecedented. At 13, he was running 22.68 in the 200 meters. By 15, he dropped to 20.87. Then at 16, he nearly broke the 20-second barrier. Such progression not only shows natural talent, but also a dedication to training, exceptional coaching, and a strong support system. Experts are careful to note that very few youth athletes can sustain this growth, which is why his team is pacing his development smartly. But with rapid success comes pressure. Australian track officials and his coaching team are being careful. They're emphasizing balance, keeping Gout in school, monitoring his training loads, and shielding him from the intense media glare. Burnout and injury are constant risks for young athletes, and no one wants to see another prodigy push too hard, too fast. The Australian community also had to rally behind him when he became the target of online racial abuse in late 2024. Instead of breaking under pressure, Gout stood tall, his community and school doubling down in support. Despite the caution, the excitement surrounding Gout is only intensifying. Athletics Australia is reportedly including him in the senior team for the World Championships in Tokyo later in 2025. If he qualifies, he'd be one of the youngest ever to represent the country on such a stage. With guidance from elite-level mentors and the backing of a supportive infrastructure, Gout is poised to break more barriers. And then there's the Olympics. Paris 2024 came just a bit too soon. But Los Angeles 2028, Brisbane 2032, those are now realistic targets, with Gout Gout poised to be the face of Australian athletics for the next decade. By Brisbane, he'll be 24 years old, likely at his physical peak and running on home soil, in a sport that constantly searches for the next big thing. Gout Gout isn't just hype. His performances are backed by hard data, legal wind readings, and consistent improvement. More importantly, his times are better than most elite runners at his age, even the legends. With legal 10.17 and 20.04 performances on record and wind-aided sub-20s on his resume, he's carving a path toward history. As we look ahead, one question remains. Is Gout Gout the next Usain Bolt? Or is he about to write a new chapter in sprinting history with his own name at the top? One thing is certain, the track world has been shaken, and it may never be the same again. Comment below. Do you think Gout Gout will dominate the 2028 Olympics? Hit like if you're rooting for him, and subscribe for more stories on the rising stars redefining sports.
The track here now, Gout Gout gets up on John, moves past John, he can't be stopped, he is incredible, 10.17. 10.17. Oh, wow. He started behind the 8.
At just 16 years old, Gout Gout has done what many athletes spend their lives chasing. Clocking an eye-watering 10.17 seconds in the 100 meters at the Queensland Track Classic, he didn't just break records, he shook the foundations of Australian sprinting. This isn't just a story about speed, it's about defying expectations, embracing identity, and setting sights on Olympic greatness. Gout Gout's journey starts in Ipswich, Queensland. Born to South Sudanese parents who escaped a war-torn homeland, Gout was raised on stories of perseverance and grit. His parents, like many immigrants, faced cultural and economic hurdles, but were determined to give their children a better life. Their resilience was passed down to Gout, who would channel it into his athletic ambitions. Interestingly, his name itself tells a story. Originally spelled Gout, a simple immigration error changed it to Gout. Rather than correcting it, his family embraced the new identity. That name, unusual and often mispronounced, would soon be echoed in stadiums and headlines across the country. Before he was sprinting into record books, Gout was dribbling soccer balls across suburban fields. Like many kids his age, he idolized Cristiano Ronaldo, mimicking his moves and dreaming of football stardom. But fate had other plans. During a school athletics carnival in year 7, Gout stepped onto the track and left everyone, including himself, stunned by his raw speed. It wasn't long before coaches and scouts began to take notice. Transitioning to full-time track training, he ditched the cleats for spikes. That decision, made in his early teens, would become the cornerstone of a legacy in the making. What amazed coaches even more was his natural running form, fluid, powerful, and uncoached. It was as if speed was wired into his DNA. December 20th, 24. The Australian All-Schools Athletics Championships. Gout lines up for the 100 meters, his face composed, his focus laser-sharp. What happened next would rewrite record books. He blazed through the heats in a wind-assisted 10.04 seconds, but in the final, with legal wind conditions, he delivered a staggering 10.17 seconds. That time wasn't just a win, it was a record. The fastest ever by an Australian under-18 athlete. What made this moment even more electrifying was the lit-up among his competitors. They knew they were witnessing something historic.
The track here now, Gout Gout gets up on John, moves past John, he can't be stopped, he is incredible, 10.17.
And he wasn't done. The following day, he shattered the Australian national 200-meter record, clocking an unbelievable 20.04 seconds. That broke Peter Norman's 56-year-old record of 20.06. To put it into perspective, Peter Norman won silver at the 1968 Olympics and stood on the podium with Tommy Smith and John Carlos during their historic Black Power salute. Gout's time not only dethroned a legend, but symbolically linked two eras of athletic excellence. The reaction was immediate and global. Social media exploded with praise, international athletics forums lit up with comparisons, and Australian sports outlets declared him the next big thing. For a 16-year-old, it was dizzying. But Gout remained unfazed. He smiled, gave a humble nod to his family and coaches, and walked off the track, already thinking about his next race. Global comparisons began flooding in. Analysts pointed out that Gout's 200-meter time made him the second fastest under-18 athlete in the world, trailing only Ariane Knighton of the U.S. But perhaps the most mind-blowing moment came when Usain Bolt himself acknowledged Gout's talent. To be mentioned in the same breath as the fastest man alive, that's more than an accolade, it's a prophecy. As the hype grew, so did the opportunities. Gout signed a sponsorship deal with Adidas, a move that placed him alongside global sprinting elites. This wasn't just a marketing deal, it was a statement. Gout Gout is here to stay. He became a figure not just in athletics, but in youth culture. Kids across Australia began mimicking his start stance. Hashtags in his name trended, and his races started drawing record online views. To sharpen his skills further, Gout traveled to Florida, joining forces with Olympic champion Noah Lyles and legendary coach Lance Brauman. It was a pivotal move. Training alongside professionals gave Gout not just the physical tools, but the mental toughness needed to compete on the global stage. "I am trying to show you what's up. I am trying to come out there with a bang," said the 17-year-old Gout after meeting and training with Lyles and his coach Lance Brauman in Claremont, Florida in January. The camp was intense, 2-a-days, strict nutrition, endless drills, but Gout thrived. In a behind-the-scenes video, Lyles was seen praising Gout's focus. "He's 16 going on 26, he joked. That kind of discipline, rare in teenagers, became Gout's hallmark. He returned to Australia with renewed energy, blazing through national events and setting new benchmarks. At one point, he clocked a wind-assisted 9.99 in the 100 meters and a 19.84 in the 200 meters, both blisteringly fast times that hinted at what's to come. Coaches began speculating that, with just a few more years of technical refinement, Gout could enter the elite sub-10-second club legally, a feat few Australians have achieved.
Gout Gout has broken the magical 20-second barrier as he took the 200-metre title at the Australian Athletics Championships in Perth. The teenager's biggest threat in the final was Lachlan Kennedy, who only just lost the 100-metre final to Rowan Browning last night.
Even prodigies face hurdles. At the 2025 Moree Plant Meet in Melbourne, Gout faced a rare defeat in the 200 meters to fellow young star Lachlan Kennedy. But rather than sulking, Gout took it in stride. "It's part of the process," he said. "You win, you learn, you grow."
Moment, Kennedy's in front, Gout's coming hard, very, very hard, Kennedy's won!
That mentality is part of what sets him apart. He's not just chasing times, he's building a mindset for longevity. With so much pressure and media attention, many young athletes crumble. Gout thrives. Every loss becomes a lesson, every challenge a motivator. His coach noted that after the defeat, Gout was the first to show up at practice the next morning. No sulking, no excuses, just work. With the 2025 World Championships in Tokyo around the corner and the 2028 Olympics in Los Angeles in his sights, Gout has his roadmap laid out. Every race, every meet, every training session is a step toward those global stages. His goals? Break the 10-second barrier legally. Win an Olympic medal before turning 21. and perhaps one day challenge the world record. Lofty dreams? Maybe. But for someone who's already broken national records and drawn praise from Bolt, nothing seems impossible. And it's not just individual glory he's after. Gout has expressed a deep desire to uplift others, particularly young athletes from refugee and migrant backgrounds. He's spoken at schools, participated in community clinics, and even launched a small online series where he shares training tips and motivational messages. His vision goes beyond the finish line, beyond medals and records. Gout's rise has inspired a new generation of athletes, particularly from immigrant and underrepresented communities. He's a symbol of possibility, proof that you don't need the perfect background to make it big, just talent, work ethic, and belief. His story resonates because it's not just about winning races, it's about rewriting narratives. It's about turning mispronounced names and overlooked beginnings into global headlines. It's about speed, yes, but also identity, ambition, and legacy. Gout has become more than an athlete. He's a cultural icon in the making. Gout Gout isn't just fast. He's transformative. From Ipswich school fields to national stadiums, he's carved a path few have dared to tread. And with every explosive start and powerful finish, he's proving that age, background, and obstacles are no match for raw talent and relentless drive. As the world watches his next moves, one thing is clear: this 16-year-old isn't just chasing greatness, he's redefining it. If Gout Gout's story blew your mind, hit that like button and share it with someone who needs a dose of inspiration. Want to see where his journey takes him next? Subscribe and turn on notifications, because this sprinting prodigy is just getting started.
Away, he got not such a good start tonight. Kelly just leads him from Kepagelli. Out wide, Cassiano and John. Now Gout starts to stretch away, and stretch away he does, and he's done it. He's broken the 10 seconds again.
At the 2025 Australian National Athletics Championships in Perth, all eyes were locked on a 17-year-old with a name you don't forget: Gout Gout. Coming off a blazing national record in the 200 meters and having already held his own against elite global talent, expectations were sky high. But what happened next? No one saw it coming. From the moment he stepped onto the track for the junior men's 100-meter semifinal, the energy shifted. Gout launched out of the blocks with his most explosive start yet. Head down, perfect drive phase, and absolute precision. With 20 meters to go, he eased up, clearly conserving energy. But even then, he stopped the clock at a jaw-dropping 9.99 seconds. Only 7 junior athletes in history have ever run sub-10 in the 100 meters, but before the world could crown him, there was a twist. A plus 3.5 meters per second tailwind made the time ineligible for record books. Still, that didn't stop the internet from exploding. The real kicker: that was just the semifinal. In the final, things got messy. Gout didn't get the clean start he had earlier. He lagged in the opening 10 meters, a moment that would have ruined most races. But not for Gout. With astonishing closing speed, he surged forward, clocking another 9.99. This time, the wind was plus 2.6 meters per second. Still over the limit, but much closer. That's 2 sub-10 times in one day by a 17-year-old. To put this in perspective, wind-adjusted conversions suggest Gout's semifinal time could translate to roughly 10.03 seconds under legal wind. Even crazier, these were the only sprint events all day with illegal wind readings. It felt like something or someone was trying to stop this kid from etching his name into history. But Gout doesn't need a record to prove he's a generational talent. And let's not forget, his primary event isn't even the 100, it's the 200 meters. Back in December 2024, at just 16, Gout shattered the Australian national record with a legal 20.04, and in March 2025, he went even faster, a wind-assisted 19.98. That's Usain Bolt territory, literally. Bolt didn't go that fast at 16. This Sunday, Gout's set to run the 200 again at the same championships. But this time, he's had 3 full days to rest. No back-to-back fatigue, no excuses, just pure potential. In the history of the 200 meters, only 5 juniors have broken 20 seconds under legal wind: Usain Bolt, Ariane Knighton, Blessing Afrifa, Letsile Tebogo, and Asinga. Gout could be next. Let that sink in. At just 17, Gout has already run times that rival Olympic finalists. He's built for this. Technically sound, mentally sharp, and physically explosive. Oh, and he's got years left in the junior division. His story began in Ipswich, Queensland, born to South Sudanese parents. At first, he loved football, but by year 7, after dominating a school athletics carnival, the sprint bug took hold. Under coach Diane Shepherd, his growth has been unstoppable. He quickly rose through the ranks, winning state and national titles while fine-tuning his explosive technique. Experts say his tall frame, longer stride length, and unusually high cadence make him a biomechanical